What's going on, Nanas? You know it's your boy Turtley Ascendant. Listen, before we get into this video, you already know, like, comment, subscribe, and turn the post notifications on so you know when your boy got some more YT content for you. Also, subscribe to my Twitch as well if you want to catch these technical topics bi-weekly live, and as well as when I hop on some games or whatever and stream for a little bit. You know, the name is the same, but the game don't change. You feel me? So without further ado, let's get into this video. Enjoy, everybody. Alright, so I kind of wanted to make this as essentially a follow-up video to my tier list video. I just wanted to, there we go. I wanted to actually talk a little bit about some of the comments that were put down in the video, just a little bit. And I feel like, well, for one, I'm not changing it. Where I have people is where I think they are, because period. So I'm definitely not going to change it anytime soon. That's just how I feel, and if you didn't like it, it's kind of whatever, you know, sorry. But I do have my reasons. I do have my legitimate reasons and experiences for putting certain characters where they are, right? And I think the best way to help you understand why I put someone somewhere is to have a criteria, right? Basically, my set of rules for how I essentially graded each character on where they were. And I didn't make that beforehand, and I needed to, I wanted to. So from here going forward, I'm gonna do that. There's gonna be a Smash tier list coming soon. Just look forward to that. But for all my Smash players at least. But otherwise, I want to kind of lay down what my criteria or my thought process was for making the list for Tekken, at least. So I use some weird stats personally, but once I explain them, you'll kind of get an idea of why I used what I used. So I want to make this very clear. I don't know if I think I said this in the tier list video, but I'm gonna say it here. Every character is viable. Doesn't matter how low I put the character. Every character is viable. Every character can win. Every character can be good, right? You're just going to have better chances with other characters, right? Now, to make that list an even more accurate list, I guess, I would have had to have like minuses and pluses, but I don't like doing tier lists like that. I don't like doing S plus, S minus. Like, everybody in the game is relatively close, but I feel like certain things make this character just straight up not worth picking over the other character, right? For example, why would you play Heihachi when Kaz is right there, right? When Devil Jin is right there. Sure, he's got some aggression. He's an oppressive character. He's really good at playing the oppressive game. But if that's what you want, I mean, Drag is right here. But he's right here. Drag is right there, right? Shoot, Geese can play the oppressive game. He's right there, right? Lydia is right here. Julia is right there. Like, the list just keeps going. It just keeps getting longer. Freaking, shoot, Brian can play an oppressive game, right? Freaking, where's he at? Negan can play an oppressive game. So it's like, well, a lot of these other characters can also do the same thing, and that's not even their main thing. That's not even their main goal point. Well, I mean, obviously Negan is an oppression-based character, right? His whole goal is to make you block, right? That's the point. He wants to scare you into just blocking to where you're afraid to hit back, right? Just abuse plus frames, pretty much. But like I said, there are characters in this game that. Let me back up. First of all, Tekken is kind of samey. One of my technicians in our Tekken talk, he talked about how a lot of characters that are good have pretty much the same stuff, right? There's no real difference between the good characters, besides the leader characters and like a few other characters like Lydia, right? For example, Kazumi. Let's take her. She's a bare bones, pretty basic strong, right? Good down forward 1, great range. I don't know how I decided to flip up. Good down forward 1 sounds better. Has great range, right? Tracks to a certain tracks to her left. I think it tracks to her left. It tracks to one of the directions. I haven't played against Kazumi or as Kazumi in a very long time. But Magic 4, right? The good generic low, good range generic low, good jab, really good jab. Right? These are all pretty generic stuff she has. Guess who also has those things? Claudia. She has a pretty good down forward 1. She has a good hop kick. She has a hop knee, but I don't think hop knee is that great. But she does have the freaking is it forward? It's forward 3 uppercut, forward 3 into stance uppercut. That gets her a launch on crouchers, which is arguably better. So, or a lot better than his hop kick. His hop kick is godlike, but he has a Magic 4, right? Good generic down forward 1, good jab. Guess who also has those things? Lydia, pretty good generic down forward 1, good Magic 4, good jab, really good jabs. Guess who also has those things? Guess who also has those things? Guess who also has those things? Maybe not good generic down forward 1. It's kind of whack, but he has everything else. Right. The point is, a lot of these characters are pretty samey. Like, what makes a character good, they all have the same thing. It just looks different, or they have different damages and stuff like that. But in general, making a list means you're really talking about the specific gimmicks of the character. And if the character's gimmicks aren't completely reliable for a long period of time, I wouldn't call them that great, right? Unless their whole gimmick is playing fundamentals, right? Which, Kazoo, right? I would say, going into one of the most important things that I went into when I was deciding on who to put where. Well, first and foremost was like matchup knowledge, right? Who has good matchups, right? And obviously the matchup department, and this is something that's going to be in every single tour, so you might as well count this as a permanent criteria. But matchups are really important. I feel like there's a lot of people who will say a character is bad against a character, and that's actually not true. I really think it should go up to more theory crafting. Now, of course, you could say, well, so-and-so beats this person all the time, but what if that's just not their style? You know? That's always a factor. Always a factor. Right? Even more important than the matchup itself is how well they play the game. And like I said, a lot of characters are very samey. And stuff like generic down 4-1s and magic 4s and decent generic down 4s, right? Stuff like that is viewed as being good, right? And sometimes it's about how well the character can break the rules, right? Akuma or Geese, right? Or sometimes Leroy, sometimes Lydia, sometimes Julia in some circumstances, right? And then on the other side, you have Double J, who just plays Tekken good, well, excellently, in literally every single way. Like, there's no fault. There's no fault in the way this character plays Tekken, right? That's why I have Double J as the best. Because it honestly doesn't matter what playstyle you adopt with this character, right? It doesn't matter. Oh, I'm pointing this way. Alright. Doesn't matter what playstyle you adapt with this character, right? This character, no matter which way you play him, you can be successful. Does not matter. You want to play complete and total defense? You can do that. You want to stick mostly to whiff punishment? You can do that. You want to play high aggression 50-50, mix them up? You can do that. You want to play a heavy poke down style? You can do that. He literally does everything and does it well. On top of having, on top of having the literal best move in the game, being an electric, and I will hear no arguments. The electric is the single best move in Tekken. Period. Okay. And then I had some. So I don't know how I want to come at this one. Another big thing was, and normally I don't put this in there, but ease of use is a big thing. Tekken is a very mechanically demanding game, right? Having to do like the backdashing, the sidestep canceling if you use it, wave dashing for certain characters is very necessary. Being able to just move, period, in Tekken, or do certain things, just in general, it's mechanically intensive, and you can drop combos and lose whole games, right? Or not be at the right range and lose whole games. So simplicity was a very big thing, right? So if a character could do the same thing as another character, but not take as much risk doing it, you would put higher, right? And then of course, another criteria, and I guess the last criteria that I used was the characters that can do your same thing and either do it better or just overall do more, right? So for example, one of my comments was that Miguel should be higher. I don't think so. Miguel primarily, in my experience, is a keep out character. He can also be played like an oppression based character, right? He can kind of be played as a poke character, but his poke has been nerfed. Like if you've played Tekken 6 Miguel or Tag 2 Miguel, like those Miguels had some mean poke. Those characters were annoying. I have a player, we still mess around on Tag 2 sometimes. There's a guy who plays Miguel sometimes. He's annoying as heck, bro. Like these pokes are ridiculous. And he had so much range with his legs. So much range. You could play that type of game. But he doesn't do it as well in this game. So in this game, he's forced to relegate more of an oppression and poke-based style, right? And it's good. Like you can win. It's pretty good. But Lee is right there. Now, sure, his execution is much higher than Miguel's, but this character's keep out is ridiculous. His keep out is phenomenal. The tools that you have access to, the sheer range, the mix that he can enforce on you, right? The imminent wall carry. Like he has so many qualities that just outclass Miguel. In the same boat, you have Negan. The stances are off. They feel awful to deal with, right? Leroy can be more oppression based. He's just all around. Leroy might be the quote-unquote Mario of the game now, right? Like the all-around character, the Shoto, if you will, right? But you have all these other characters that can play oppression-based style, that can do the same thing and just do it better. So I can't put Miguel any higher, knowing that there's so many other characters that are oppression-based and aren't oppression-based that can do it better than he can. That's why he's down there. That's not to say he's bad. Like, I just think these other characters do more stuff and do it just as good, if not better, and have an easier time executing the game plan that he wants to do. Right? One of my homeboys says he thinks Ganryu should be S tier. No. Okay? First of all, the only Ganryu I've ever seen in tournament is Saint. Okay? Now, me, I'm not a person that uses tourney results per se, but I do use character usage, right? The fact that I've really only seen Saint use this character, right, means that this character is not consistent enough in anybody else's hands but Saint, right? If I, like, even if it's just like a top 8 finish, right, or a top 32, top 64, getting out of pool, something like that, just me seeing maybe a lot of the same character in pools is enough for me to be like, okay, maybe this character has some juice, maybe it's got some stuff. So Ganryu, there's only Saint, and obviously Saint is a very godlike player. If I remember correctly, he was the king of Tag 2, right? I think he won the last one for Tag 2, the last TW. Was it TWT? I don't remember. He won the very last major tournament, I think, for Tag 2. So, yeah, this character is pretty good. His poke game is pretty solid, but he's still a big body. He's pretty cheesy, right? A tier, I'd say, if you want a the most consistent chance of winning, you would go A tier. But Ganryu's just not up there with the S tier characters. He's not. The S tier characters can do his job better, or just stomp him in general. That goes into the matchup section. I don't think if you were to put his moveset against anybody S tier and above, he would fall short every single time. Well, maybe not every single time, but he would be below them, is the point. Which is why I don't have him S tier. I don't think he's that push. I think he's all poke, and most of his stuff you can see him coming. And I think all the characters above him can also poke and get more from those pokes, get more setups, right? I think not having a 10 frame jab hurts him immensely. I think that hurts him immensely, like big immensely, so that's why he's not above there. Let's see. Another comment, I believe, mentioned Brian being S tier. Here's my problem with Brian, okay? And there are several problems with Brian, but here's my main problem with Brian, I guess. He's too hard. Well, I don't think he's that hard. I think, how do I put this? I think he's a character. I think he's a character that can do really well, and he is very strong. Obviously, I wouldn't have him where I have him if I didn't think he was very strong, right? Oh, sorry, got a mean message. But yeah. And the same for Lee, right? The reason Lee and Brian aren't S tier is because they're very close. If I'm, like I said, I don't like doing the pluses and minus, but I would have Brian and Lee, characters like that, I would have them S minus if I actually did minuses and pluses, but I don't think they're consistent enough to be in that S tier slot. There's only a handful of Bryans. Off the top of my head, it's Jimmy J and the one Pakistani, right? And then there's literally only one Lee. Literally one Lee in Fighting GM. So, oh, and I'm Your Father. He's cool too. But there's so few of them that I can't really bring myself to put them that high, and they don't output in tournaments like that in the first place. So that's the only reason I have that like that. The other thing was so interesting to hear was that I had Paul too high, right? That Paul is not BS enough of a character. Here's the thing. Paul's damage and safety are BS in and of itself. He doesn't have to hit you that much. He can play neutral and drain your health bar. He robs you easier than Akuma can. Like, we're talking about this guy, right? This guy? Alright, this guy? No. This character will rob you blind. And he is significantly easier than his Tag 2 or T6 counterpart. Significantly easier, still has all the damage, extremely hard to punish. Like he can literally just play some neutral, with punish, bow. Dang, I'm half health. He only hit me twice. Easy mode wall combos and all that. Just no. He does too much damage. His overall kit may not be that BS, but the fact that he can touch you once, he can play Tekken so well. It's like playing Kazumi with a bunch of damage. That's Paul. That's why he's up there. That is exactly why he's up there. For me, at least. That's why he's up there. And what's the last thing? There was one more. I had a comment that said they will put Heihachi and AK on A. Like I said, those type of characters, they're pretty good, right? Like I said, early I started with Heihachi, so I don't want to go through that again. Armor King's not dirty enough. Armor King plays Tekken really well, right? He plays Tekken almost as well as Kazumi, but he's not dirty enough. He doesn't have the dirt, you know? Like, everything Armor King does is there. And if you want to be dirty with Armor King, you are literally risking the round. Right? Like, he's pretty good, but Paul has way more damage, right? She's better at the neutral. Her range is better, right? This character exists, right? So like, there's other characters that just do the job better, right? Like, they are good. They are good. Don't get me wrong. Both of those characters are good. Like I said, everybody's viable, but these other characters are just on another level, man. Just another level, man. And then I want to talk about one last comment. As somebody said, as a Lydia main, they didn't know that Lydia was as high up as I put her. Lydia is strong, man. This character right here, this character is strong, man. It used to be worse. Lydia is, if I were to mix characters, Lydia is Julia plus Drag plus Paul. You take Paul's damage, you take his neutral, and you take her pressure, right? You got a lot to worry about. You got a lot to worry about. The character's ridiculous. In the same breath, I love this character. Since Akuma's not going to be in T8, I'm most likely going to main Lydia and work on Lisa. So, but yeah, I hope that kind of got you some insight on my criteria for the list, right? Matchup knowledge, how well they play the game, tourney presence, not results, tourney presence, right? And then just overall utility. Those were pretty much my 4 criteria points that I used to put that tier list together. So thank you guys for watching this video. I also appreciate the comments. Keep the comments coming. I like to see comments like that and interact with people who check out the videos, right? So you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you can get another video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.